Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy P Funk thinking right out here in the lab. But I'm in the book and I'm about to bring some more information to you, boy. This is bringing back memories. I'm having flashbacks and they're not good ones. So this ain't racial, but it's just information that I had already went through. But flashbacking again because it's still going on. Let's talk about this concept. The Greeks weren't the only ones to invade Kemet. Right is a 25 rule to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's a message in my stories for life. I give you life lessons. You tune in and receive them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission, and I'm on it. It's to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking way of life through mental and spiritual discipline. Practice daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to know thyself. You see where we're going with this? Let's get there together. So I asked the question, do you know you? Well, when I'm through, that's what I do. It's rhetorical, but if you know how to answer for yourself, tune in. I got you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you, right? Thinkers, know thyself. And two, my God, be true. We still talking about how the Commissions were invaded. It wasn't just only the Greeks. So let me give you a good breakdown because they played this little game about our ethnicity. We know Kemet means black, Kim, black, the Egyptian, burnt face. All right, let's rock. So right there, let's talk about the Greeks wasn't the only invaders of Kemet. Many classical scholars would have us to believe that the Greek civilization developed independent of any African influence and that of the Nile Valley civilization was the product of a mixed society. Not true. Respectfully. That's a blatant lie. And to print that and to say that, you can't stand on that because it's a lie. We've been shot that to hell. All right, but those same scholars have declared that the eyewitness accounts by the Greeks who constantly describe the Egyptians, which mean burnt face, named by them, and the Ethiops, which means black, dark skin, and woolly hair, were all erroneous. So Herodotus was lying with his own eyes. He lied. Y'all ain't did nothing, but y'all supposed to be the truth tellers. That's what we've been dealing with for a long time. We go way back to 3000 BCE. Okay, watch this. I got the timeline for you, but watch this. Now, even with all the modern technological advances of today, it is physically impossible for someone living in the 20th century ACE to describe with great accuracy events which were witnessed by or in the ninth, 5th, or the 1st century BCE. We got eyewitness accounts telling you, but you got other people now telling you, no, they was wrong. I'm standing next to you. Piss running down my leg. I said, yo, man, you peeing on my leg. Nah, man, this is warning. That's right. Really. So that's that concept. But you think I'm stupid. Okay. I was born last night. I was born that night, not last night, as they tell you. But it also, watch this. This is what I mean by facts and proof. You ain't got to jibber jab and get all crazy out of pocket. Just state your case and make your points. That's why I don't no longer argue. Okay, watch this. It says here. Okay, it seems highly unlikely that a people would travel to a foreign land and create a culture, a philosophy, and a religious system which they did not have at home. See where we're going with this? If you ain't got it, you can't teach it, you can't practice it. But traditionally, and this is what the norm is, when people travel outside of their homeland, they generally return with what? Newfound ideas and concepts, different and usually better, or at least different than those that they already possess. So, I mean, it's other stuff going on in other places other than where you at. That's been the norm. It's always been that way. By contrast, if a country is occupied, taken over by foreigners, by war, which is more technologically advanced than the occupying army of that likely that they've taken over, they will impose their technology on said culture, and the newly conquered occupants will happen. Conversely, if an occupied nation has a technology, a philosophy, or theology that's superior to that of their conquerors, everybody who came into Egypt practiced what we did. That's the first thing. That's what they're telling you right here. That's my point. Watch this now. Pay attention. And that knowledge will surely be claimed what along with the new territory or the new conquerors, or it will be similarly repressed according to an age of old dictum, meaning all's fair in love and war. When I conquer you, whatever you got becomes mine. I can do what I want with it. When the Greeks came in, well, we gonna get to that. I don't want to get too far ahead of the lesson. I got a little time, so I don't need to rush that. Okay, but I'm dealing with when you invade somebody, you're gonna take over. Watch this, and that's sign of slavery. Watch this, and you took over, but now what happened? Throughout the ages, the loser in any conflict, okay, have been forced to what? Give up their wealth, their women, children, and their what? Knowledge. Hello. And there currently exist volumes of evidence to prove this point, supporting the African origin of the Nile Valley civilization and the Nile Valley presence in ancient Europe, named after Black Lady Queen Europa. They don't know that. They don't tell you that. Okay, which is not a big deal. But Herodotus and other writers reported that Greece had once been conquered by a king named Xerxes. And Greek legends also speak of indicated that the legendary founder of Athens was an Egyptian named Kekrops. Inscriptions recently found in the Egyptian city of Memphis attributed the conquest of Greece by land and sea, what? To the 12th dynasty king Senswaseret I and Amenes II in Kemet. And this is what he looked like, this bad man. Okay. This is the one who found Athens, Greece. Black man. Okay. This is the army that they had. They called them the Bo people. Those my boys. Okay, the Ethiopians. They didn't take no mess from the white man. They didn't take no mess from nobody. They didn't give a damn. Okay, we ain't having it. And those are first. If you want the Bible, you want the Christian, go get the Ethiopian Bible. They got everything in there. Still housed in the Ark of the Covenant, according to them. See, I know the history too. I know that. I just don't follow it. I don't practice it. I know it. I see y'all misinterpreting, misappropriating, and misunderstanding. So I just laugh. Moving on. That's not my problem. I just showed you the king, the pharaoh, who discovered Athens, Greece. Senwaseret was also known as Capricar Sinastrus I. His name, again, watch this, was later what? Changed by who? The Greeks, to Kekrops. And the other Greek texts referred to him as Sesostris, which is his original name. They would change your name in a heartbeat. But them Greeks, they didn't give a damn. I tell them my name P-Funk, they gonna call me something else. And I ain't gonna answer. So no, we ain't playing that game. I ain't doing that nonsense. And I tell people, no. Yeah, P-Funk is my alias. That's what I'm gonna answer to the name. Why? If I tell you my real name, that's the other thing. But don't make a difference. Whatever I tell you to call me, you just acquiesce to that. Moving on, all that changing my name. I did that. Okay, moving on. Herodotus, the great Greek historian, was responsible for what? Providing the truth about ancient Europeans with the first-hand account, again, of his personal travels. So he wasn't the smoke blower. He wasn't the gaslighter. He was telling the truth. He was given the moniker Father of History. He did his due diligence and did his homework. By who? Now this don't excite me. The Roman orator Cicero. You know anything about history, you know this guy. Because he had written a number of books detailing his travels throughout the various parts of Greece, Western Asia, and North Africa. Many of the writings of Herodotus describe the conquest of the Persian army, and he visited Kemet approximately 50 years after the Persian invasion. Now, watch this. Here we go to timeline. Watch this. The first Persian conquest, aka invasion of Kemet, was done in 525 BCE. So we had a nice little run. And then here come the damn Persians. Okay, Darius and the boys, the great. He's all of a sudden everybody get great when they conquer Egypt. Alexander Numbnuts wanted to be called great. Why? Because he conquered Egypt. He's in here too. I got him too. But the date 525 BCE. From that point on, you would never hear or got Egypt raised again. Kemet was done. Watch this. The first invasion, 525. And this was followed by a succession of other foreign invasions. The Greeks being one. They came in, your boy, 332 BCE. And for 300 years, they ran Egypt from Greek. The Romans, in turn, came and stepped up in 30 BCE. And then the Arabs came in 642 ACE. So they had a good little run. Egypt ain't been Egypt in a long time. You know that? No, y'all ain't pay attention. They don't tell you that. That's what I'm saying. So I do my history homework. I love this because it shows you how they just chipped away. Became famous off of chips of what we had already laid out. Moving on. But in 642 ACE, now you got the damn French, your boy, the little guy, Napoleon, okay? Supposedly blow the nose off. He didn't do it, but they gave him credit for that. But he was amazed with the Sphinx and the pyramids, okay? And the English in 1881 had to get their hands in the pockets. They conquered Egypt and made it possible for what? For many developing nations to what? Wear the banner of civilization for the first time in their recorded history, for they now had access to the accumulated wisdom, all the knowledge, all the information of more than 3,000 years of the Nile Valley civilization. The conquest of Egypt after the Common Era also provided the invaders with profound discoveries. They just keep discovering everything. They found this. They digging up graves, finding everything. Books in there for the dead. And discoveries in the areas of science, math, and archaeology. During the early insurgents into Kemet, the invading armies often retained what? Elements of the indigenous culture, meaning their ways. Okay. Foreign rulers often assumed African names, okay? Embraced the Nile Valley's theologies, okay, their religion, and worship many of their gods, okay, of old, while their servants studied the arts and the sciences of the numerous temples that were found along the Nile Valley. Many of the new ideas that were found in Kemet were infused into the culture of the invaders. The Greeks took it, flipped it, gave it back to us, and dispersed throughout other newly conquered territories. They colonized them, okay? They conquered and colonized. That's what they called it, okay? They did every country in Africa except Ethiopia. Now, although Kemet no longer exerted many political influence and no power in the world, they were still being used for many of their accomplishments in the areas of science, religion, and social behavior. Continued to influence civilization for centuries to come, even to this very day. I'm still practicing it. I'll keep it alive. Okay, I'm holding on. Yeah, I'm not letting it go. So let's break this down. The Greek invasion of Kemet was primarily responsible for the closing of many of the temples and consolidation of their curriculums. They took the knowledge. They took the knowledge. They took the knowledge. In the newly formed city of Alexandria. In the newly formed, that was our spot on the shores of the Mediterranean Sea, where they had a big library of Alexandria, where the nexus of the vast educational complex was this, which was said to contain more than 700,000 papyrus, aka scrolls, writings, documents. 700,000. That's a lot of stuff. And what happened to all that information? What happened to all that knowledge? What happened? It had to be copied. It had a copy of every existing scroll known to the library and administrators. They housed information. Everybody could come and get the information. Everybody came and got the information, but no, the Greeks, they didn't want the information. They seized it, took it, flipped it, and gave it back to the world like it was theirs. Many were translated, what's this, from Medunetta. The Greeks called it the hieroglyphs into what? Into Greek. Why would you do that? So we can present it to the world as ours. That's what they've been doing. Everything is Greek this, Greek that, Greek name this, Greek name that. But let me get this lesson out. A portion of the library was this accidentally destroyed by who? Julius Caesar during his conquest of Egypt, but he took away the information that he wanted and was later rebuilt by his successor, Mark Antony, around 40 BCE. Okay. In 391 ACE, the Christian emperor Theodosius decreed that all that was ancient was pagan. So anything that came from Egypt was pagan. So therefore it was sinful. And the library was burnt to the ground. That's some of the parts that really gets me pissed off or upset about that man. Okay. We can't get that back. Okay. All we got to go with is their nonsense that they set forth. Not just don't set well with me. It was burned to the ground by a mob of, you ready? Christian fanatics. As the knowledge of this ancient library faded from the memories of the later generations, we become ignorant and ignorant and ignorant. For every generation, we're getting further and further away from what knowledge of self, knowing who we are. We don't have a clue who we are, don't have a clue who we want to be. We want people to tell us who we are, who God is, where we're going. That's not the way to live. Why you're being controlled and manipulated as a people. And it's been that way since then. They've been doing it ever since then. And to this day, it's still happening. So, too, did the recollections of the Africans who had founded the earliest civilization in the ancient land that is now we call Egypt. They lost everything. The debate over the ethnicity of the ancient Egyptian is a waste of time and has really increased significantly within the last few years. Primarily, why? Because of the growth of the African-centered educational movement. They went from being black people to light skinned people. I've been recognized that. I'm saying, what the hell? What the hell? And I'm seeing it from studying and watching. I'm watching that happen. So I'm not the only one. It ain't just me. And which has what? Has spawned the teaching of what they call politically correct history. According to who? Oh, I forget. Those who win get to dictate what's correct. And the concept of history, his story in the United States and many parts of the world, many classics have been derived from what? Revisionist history, aka, let me go to 151 and wrap it up with this right here. Many foreign invasions of the Nile Valley civilization, starting with the Hyksos, the Libyans, the Assyrians, the Persians, the Greeks, the Romans, the Arabs, the Turks, the Frenchmen, the British. Introduction, no new, and none of those people who came into Kemet brought anything to Kemet, but took everything out of Kemet. They introduced no new concepts into Kemet, but in every instance, they left Kemet with a knowledge of science, mathematics, astronomy, religion, philosophy, and architecture that was far greater than that which they possessed before they arrived. So we educated them, enlightened them, and they still what? Enslaved us. Not good people. So I just gave a whole group of them. And most of them was of a different ethnicity, meaning different color, another race. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. I got to go right now, right? Thinkers. I got some more information for you, but I know how y'all memories is, so I don't want to keep you too long. So, in closing, you all live to be 100. Be 100 minus a day. So I've known that my right thinkers who started learning more about their history, if they care about it, and passed away. I do. Right back.